Welcome to the NYC GODcast, where we offer a wacky word of wisdom each week from God's Word. I think I said that wrong. Too many W's.
No, that's right.
Again.
You just add so many windows. Windows to this W.
And we'll close that window and then lock it. We're going to start that over. So... Hi everyone, Josh here. Welcome to the NYC GODcast, where we offer wacky wisdom each week from God's Word. Today's just kind of a wrap-up of the month of June. We've been talking about brick by brick for some time now, and so we are officially past camp. Camp is behind us.
Yes.
It is behind us and over, and so we just kind of wanted to unpack what happened, the theme, one last time before we move on to our next series starting next week. And so, camp's in the books.
Yeah.
Woo,
Honestly,
we actually did a full week.
We did a full week,
week.
and it was a long one.
It
was a long one, yes.
I feel like it was like a really good week. Like I feel like they got the being up on stage. It felt like they didn't grab it.
Yeah.
They're very scary children.
Very scary children.
Yeah, so talk through that a little bit. So you guys did skits every day.
Yeah.
And I got to talk to you as you were coming off the stage. But what was that like?
So like the thing is that like Rachel and I think we're hilarious, but like there wasn't a chuckle in
They
the
do.
there was not a chuckle in the bunch when I did things. But I heard
chuckled.
later. Well, that's the thing is I heard later
you.
that really honestly like the adults really thought it was funny and different things, but they were just intently listening,
Yeah.
which is nice. But it was also
I
very
know
scary.
Mark Gawrotowski laughed at.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard because like you want them to be quiet because they're listening.
Right.
But when they're quiet, you're like, oh my goodness, it's so
they're
quiet.
listening.
The silence
too
is
quiet.
deafening.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I thought the skits were amazing. I love them. I'm excited to see what skits you have come up for next year.
Oh, no.
Because those are not going away anytime soon. But I agree. I think the devotions, I think the overall theme from the daily devotions to the church services to the team times to the prayer stations, I think overall this theme really just sunk in more than anything we've ever done before.
Like resonated.
Which is super exciting. So this was year 14.
Yep.
And so for 14 years, our aim has always been to offer a camp that people want to come to, but a camp that really that gets the Bible down deep, like a camp that offers Jesus on like a next level, if that makes sense. So like a lot of camps, they have their water slides, they have pools and things like that. And like there's nothing wrong with that. That's never been our goal.
Yeah.
Now we offer fun things, but it's more of a lure to get you to
Yes.
Jesus, like
Yeah.
full transparency.
Yes.
I felt like this year, it felt like more than ever before we accomplished that. Like they actually wanted Jesus. They actually wanted to know what God's word said, and they were really just soaking it up. And I'm like you, I heard so many people. I mean, even yet today, people texting me saying this was the best year of camp we've ever had.
Yep.
So good for me. Theme was exactly what I needed. And so I feel like it really just sunk in, really just got a hold of us, and I'm grateful.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is like when you're doing it, and I think it's when you're in it every day, like working up to it, you almost feel like, not that it's not a bad theme, but like you almost feel like maybe it's a little too simple.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like even like when we were doing our skits and stuff, I was like, is this too simple of a concept? And it really wasn't. Like I think that when you start out in that simplicity, they're able to build on that,
Right.
for lack of a better term. But like that's the thing is like they're able to take that and move it onto their own lives.
Well, and the thing that I love about our camp is that we add so many dynamics to the theme each day.
Yeah.
So like you can't if you are just sitting in church service in the evening, you really are missing out.
Yes.
Like, and that's great. Like that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
But we have so many layers to our theme because like the theme verse to team time in the morning, to the devotion class, to the follow-up questions in devotion class, to the 4 prayer stations, to just on and on the evening service. We saturate the theme on different levels.
Yeah.
And so like yes, it's simple, but it's so dynamic.
Yes, it's simple, but it's also layered.
Yeah.
And so like it's
camp is like onions.
oh no.
I would.
That's all I have to say about that.
that.
It
It's like
smells
a
worse
layered
than
cake,
onions. It's
I
like a
would
layered
say.
cake.
It's like a
Yeah.
layered cake.
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
But like I honestly think that they just grasped it. Like and I didn't think that they were, and especially like walking off stage and different things, but I had several adults that were in charge of kids and they were like, no, they got it.
Yeah.
Like they would talk about it later, they would have discussion about it, or like when they brought up, they understood exactly what we were trying to portray.
I went through it yesterday and read every one of the review forms. And I continue to read where they were really moved by team time this year, which we have nothing to do with.
Yeah.
I mean, we write them, but then it's hands off. It's all on the counselors. But what I got from that was like, that was another area that showed that they were getting it.
Yeah.
Like, because
Yes.
that was another dynamic, of the theme. And so I think that, I think they got it. Now, we're so glad you got it. Now let's do something about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's where we're all at now. I know even our service this morning at our church, Brother Paul preached Thursday night and really just sent us off with a powerful, just what comes next message. And so my prayer is that brick by brick doesn't end now that it's over, but brick by brick really just begins.
Yeah.
Maybe that should be the title
Like
of the
this will be the
podcast. Brick by
foundation for
brick
next year.
begins. Like this is just like this is what the NYC is from now on, and like even in our lives personally, like let's put this into action. Let's put this into reality in our lives, and let's take a step forward in building this thing. And so, I think that. So Monday of camp, we talked about how we talked about Tower Babel, right? They're building up a tower. God says no, it smashes the
Not through
tower.
there.
Man's efforts are futile. But then by the end of the week, we realized that we are called to build.
Yes.
It's just we have to go about God's way of building.
Yes.
And so as we go back home, I guess my words of advice or just hopes for everyone who attended is that you get back to building your life brick by brick and that you will build your way to God by his efforts. So we're back to building this tower-like thing. We're trying to get to God, but let him build you into his creation by his efforts until your life becomes unseen and his life becomes seen in and through what has been built in your life. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. I think the theme was very simple, like Jamie said, but it's also just like so important. You know what I mean? Like if anything else, if you just took the basics from that, you can build upon that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like jumping in the middle of something that you like had to have like a prerequisite to follow. You know what I mean? It was for everybody, and even like a lost person can take that concept and apply it to their life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And honestly, I think this year more than others, maybe just simply because Rachel and I were in a different role this year, kind of, it felt like we made more relationships with people.
Yeah.
Like adults, kids, like everybody. Like I don't know if it's just like the year in general or if it was like the role we're in.
I definitely think that, so we've been doing this for 14 years. I know we keep saying that, but my mind still has not comprehended that we've been doing this for 14 years. This year felt so different all the way around in relational, just the camp attendees as a whole. Like I don't know how to explain that. Yes, relational with one-on-one, but like just everyone as a body together felt different. And I know last year got cut short, so it very well could be we were just grateful to be there. But it just felt so different.
But even like
this year.
compared to the years prior to that.
it felt so different.
It just felt like everyone was coming not for themselves this year.
Yeah.
It felt like everyone was coming with like
everybody was
came
ready.
hungry, like they wanted it. And so man, that was amazing. I hope that never goes away. Come hungry next year, don't fill yourselves. But
no, fill yourselves. What he's saying is want more.
You're right. Thank you for clarifying. But no, it was a great year.
Yeah. I just think everybody had a good, and honestly, I didn't hear a whole lot of anything from anybody, really.
No.
And it was like really weird for all of us.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. No, I thought like the week, actually a good way to describe it is like we were kind of still like crazy bananas, running around doing things, but never felt overwhelming.
Yeah, I would say. So as I was kind of just contemplating yesterday, so complete honesty, I didn't move off the couch all day yesterday. Like we ordered food because I was like, I don't want to get up. But as I was like there sluggishly contemplating, I thought the exact same thing. Like I felt like this was a grace-enabled week of camp. Like it wasn't. We weren't building a camp by our efforts. We were really just walking step by step in grace, relying on him. Like even right off the bat, with things going the way they went, and then all through the week, we were functioning by grace and relying on him. And so I don't know. I felt like in a lot of ways we were living out what we were teaching them. So like on Monday we were living out like you can't build this thing on your own, and then you got to say, yeah, you're right. Let me show you.
Do you care if I share what we did on Monday?
What did we do?
Sunday. Sunday. We did. So obviously last year got really cut short, and it was because of the storm and everything like that. And like these two kind of knew before they went in that they were already having some issues with that, emotionally. And I didn't realize that. I was just being mean before camp, and I didn't realize that it was because of that. Sorry, Jacob. But we got there and we all three kind of realized that it was because of past things that had happened when we walked into certain rooms, just different things. And the lights went out. And we're like, are you kidding me?
As the first church arrived.
As the first church arrived.
Pulling in, no electric.
And so Reed and Rachel are both like, we're good. It's fine. Everything's fine. And then maybe 15, 20 minutes later, me and Rachel were both looking at each other and we're like, if we look at someone wrong, we're going to cry. That's just the way that we felt. And obviously in that moment, we were trying to rely on ourselves on this. It was us trying to fix this, trying to, deal with us. And Rachel was like, let's just go back to the camper and pray. And so like that's what we did. We left and we like turned off everything, kind of just went to the camper back, and like we prayed, and which was like not like a weird thing, but it was like also like we just stopped in the middle of everything, registrations going on, like everything, and it felt odd to like just leave everything, but we did. We prayed and we left, and we're like that we felt better after that, and like after that everything kind of just worked.
I think that I was right. I wasn't with you in the camper, but I was right there with you mentally and emotionally. It really was, I guess, more than I expected, especially with the power going out when it did. Like, but I guess I got to the point I did not handle that well. Like, complete apologies I tried to apologize to everyone that saw me in that manner. I tried to hide myself, but anyhow,
they kept finding me.
But I got to the place where it was what we were going to learn Thursday of camp, which is, don't allow the distractions of the enemy to stop you from the work that needs done. Yeah. I thought of the message that Eric gives all the time about when his basement kept flooding. He goes, I will not be moved. Like, that's how I got to a point where I was almost angry at the enemy because I'm like, no. Like, no. I don't care how many kids are barfing. I don't care how much electric is missing. I don't care. Like, I don't care if it's storming. No. Yeah. And so, like, that was kind of a learning moment for me to realize that what we're teaching, by the way, you're going to have to live that out. So that's so much fun part of leadership, but that was kind of a reality this week.
I think that looking at it, because you guys have so much more hands-on in, building the camp itself, you know what I mean? And then like my role of just, you know what I mean? Like getting the information from you guys and everything, it's like a total different outlook on it. You know what I mean? Because like even working registration, it's only my second year, but it was so different. Like like last year compared to this year's registration was, so different. And the attitudes of everyone as they got there just was different than last year.
Well, and that was kind of the thing. Like, we're falling apart, and everyone I look at is like happy. Like, there's no electric. Oh, goody. Like, I'm like, no, you should be devastated right now. Like, don't you understand? Like, it really was. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I keep
No.
It really was, though. Everyone all week just genuinely seemed like gracious. I don't know.
I think one lady said to me, "Oh, we're just picking it where we left off last year."
Literally.
I'm like, it's a continuation.
One of the little kids showed up, and they were like, "They've not had electric all year." Because they left and there was no electric, and they showed back up a year later. There's still no electric. But it was interesting. I mean, you cannot go through things like that and think that God doesn't have a sense of humor. Like, tell me, what are the statistical odds that that's
and it wasn't from like it was not a storm. It was lightly raining.
It was like unbelievable. Like anyhow.
But I think everyone was like over explaining it, you know what I mean? Like, we have no power, but it's not a storm. Like a deer ran into a transformer. You know what I mean? Like everyone tried to offer up an excuse. And I guess that was in an effort to calm people, right? Because like, if I'm not mistaken, it didn't start raining until right when registration started.
Now it was a wet week.
It was very wet.
Not just wet, but just like cold. Like weather like we have never seen it in 14 years, like unbelievable. So night and day different from last year where we were baking cookies on the sidewalk
almost all day.
And like this mist, like this weird mist, like where does that even come from?
That
like
kept happening.
Unbelievable. But even in that, like I just had this like almost internal smile, like this is ridiculous, but I will not.
But I think everybody had that. Like everybody I talked to about it was just like, this is
odd.
And then like they were like, next year I don't know how to pack.
Right, literally,
Pack 2 suitcases, keep the warm clothes in, or whichever one you don't need, keep it in the car.
Yes.
I think Wednesday morning, as I was getting different kids in prayer stations and everything, and I mean, even walking over to the Whale building, I was like, man, it feels like it's like 50 degrees out here. You know what I mean?
It was.
And today's wet day. So whoever has the wet stuff first thing in the morning,
It'll be cold.
They were, but yet when they came in, because I asked each class, like, what have you done so far? And even the kids who had, kickball or the festival first, like they weren't complaining about it. You know what I mean? They were like, it was fun.
It was a year of good attitudes for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's what was it that I was trying to see. I could see my own breath at one point, but you thought I was talking about something else. Like I was giving attitude about something. You remember that? CJ had said something. You said CJ had said something.
And she's like,
I'm like, she's like, well, I did. I'm like, no, I can see my breath.
So highlight moments from the week, like just moments you don't want to forget, like highlights of the entire week. Funny, spiritual, like any of the above.
The glaucoma.
I knew that was going to
Yeah.
come. All right, so explain glaucoma. Not what it is, but with
Pulls up a medical chart. So we were in the escape room
the pink team.
with the pink team, Chuck. We love you. And so he had the enigma, and he was trying
They had
to.
made it to the end of the puzzle.
They did. They made
They
it.
were
To
solving it.
they were solving it, and so they had to put hyssop in, and there's an O in there, and he's like, it's not opening, and we thought maybe because it's a little bit like
Finicky,
so you have to get it right. We look over there, he's like, one of the kids is like, that's a Q. He's like, oh, stinking glaucoma.
That was hilarious. It's very great. Yeah, I love that.
Goodness, that was a good one.
Any other?
I'll
moments?
never forgive myself for the pen.
Okay, so share that story. That was great too. That was
So
great.
we were in the admin.
So
with-
and he may see this.
so yeah, I'm sorry if you're watching.
Was Shannon, I believe, or James. I think it was Shannon. You said.
Yeah, I think that's what you
Okay.
said it was. So it was him and Isaiah and me and Jamie were in the admin. This was Sunday night. And he needed a pen. And so like we have our garb and like we have like everything in it, right? Our aprons. So I'm digging and I'm digging. Like, I know I got a pen. Let me find it. And I'm digging. I cannot find it for nothing. So Isaiah's like, oh, here's a pen. He gets one off the desk. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I always have a pen. And then me and James go to practice on stage and I look down and the whole time it was hanging right here. So you know he had to see it the whole time. So I could never look at him the rest of the week.
Oh, goodness.
That's great. That's great.
That was a good one.
We won't share my embarrassing stories because those aren't appropriate for podcast
Because it
television.
happened more than once.
Yeah, I have it twice, and I still can't. Yeah, text me if you want to know. So I think on a spiritual note, like we've already said, I feel like everywhere I looked, it was like they were just getting it. Like, the answers the kids were getting and the adults were getting in devotion classes were just solid. Like, so blown away.
And they weren't getting pelted in the head.
Right. But I remember one night, I don't even remember honestly what day it was. That week it's all one day, really.
Yes.
Because we don't go to sleep. So literally just one long day. I went back. I was zooming past somewhere, and I looked, and there were two kids. So, like, usually after church, they're all just everywhere, getting sugar and ice cream, candy, and shower. Just it's crazy. But I looked, and here are two kids sitting at the like bleacher thing under the restrooms, the girls' dorm area. Okay. There's two kids just sitting there studying their Bible together, and like no one around them, no one to see them, no adult. Like they're adults, but like no one's like all right, do this.
Yeah.
They just took it upon themselves to study God's word. Just two teenagers. And I just smiled to myself as I drove past. Like, I didn't interrupt them, but I'm just like, they get it. Like, that's why we're here. It's just this yearning for God's word that we can't force them to want. Like, it has to be a natural thing. And so I don't know. That was a great moment for me.
Like, honestly, just seeing like prayer stations in general. We didn't get to be in there a whole lot this year.
I didn't make it in at all, and I'm so bummed about that.
Like, just
I
seeing
was there the
them,
whole time.
like when we would walk in there and like the kids were actually like paying attention. They were actually like doing the things, raising their hands, doing like it was just really awesome to see that because like we have had years where like you're like it's like dead stone wall.
Most years.
Most years. And like it wasn't that way. You know, they were just like really engaged and they wanted to know what the prayer station person was giving them.
I think that because I work in a school, so you know what I mean. So a lot of times with kids, and last year I may have felt this way, like I have to over animate the lesson to, you know what I mean, to engage with them. And this year, I didn't feel that need to do that, even though I may have done it just because that's my personality. You know, but I would say that whoever Amy had her group, you know, the building the Legos around the castle, like they were 10, 11 years old, and they built such a structure around that castle. I couldn't even see the castle anymore. And I was like, did Jamie have extra Legos in her pockets? Like, how did she build this thing out of, you know what I mean? So I think that, like, we all, during the first day, you know what I mean, you can tell the campers who don't want to be there. I mean, they're just like, you know. But there was, like, one girl, like, Monday, you know, she just looked out the window the whole time, okay? But by Wednesday, she was definitely, you know what I mean, moved, you know what I mean? And not just engaging, but giving, like, spiritual answers to questions that, You know what I mean?
I heard several people say this the other week, mostly counselors, but so we all know, like, if you've been to camp before, you know, the first couple of days, like, it's like, but then the wall comes down and everyone is one big family. Like, I heard a lot of people say that happened a lot quicker this year. Like by like Monday evening, everyone was just there, which is, I think, one of the reasons we had such a great week is because we grew through that so quickly.
Yeah.
I will say it was very different and special to see my kids getting to do everything. So that was like, that was the first, because last year it was one day.
Yeah.
But so, that was,
much.
so that was really special this year.
I think, again, kind of spiritual, so I'm like just reviewing my mind, like things I just never want to forget that I had witnessed. So Thursday evening's message, like I said, just such a powerful message. So appreciate that message. But so we were up singing an altar call, and I remember looking back as we're singing. So we were like on the back of the stage, looking back and seeing family members going and getting their family and coming. I remember the Piles family walking out. I'm like, that's odd. Why are they leaving? And then I looked and they went and got their little ones and came back in and knelt together as a family. And like I just seen that time can't think of their names now. There's another family that did that. Like I saw many people doing that, going and finding family members and kneeling together. And I just, that's the kind of things we need to take home and continue with if we're going to build God's kingdom here on earth. It can't just be a solo thing that we do one week out of the year. It has to be this building together. And so that was so great. Thursday or Friday, as we were leaving, I had two different brothers from two different churches and two different teams who stopped me and just kind of were saying their goodbyes. And both of them looked at me with tear-filled eyes. Both of them very, you wouldn't expect to cry. Yeah. And both of them looked at me and hugged me and said, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for changing lives. And thank you for letting me be a part of it. And that was really just so, I needed to hear that. Like, I don't do it for that.
No.
But it's an acknowledgement that we're accomplishing something here, and all the blood, sweat, and tears hours that we've poured into this has been worth it.
Because if everybody came and had a fun week, that doesn't mean anything at all.
This is a lot of work to do for kids to have fun.
Exactly right. But I do think we're changing lives for the NYC, and I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Yep, me too.
I think that when you guys are doing your devotion stations and everything, like there's like a gap between the stage and where the kids are sitting. You know what I mean? We're in a prayer station, like we're right here.
Yeah, because if we were that close in devotion, I would hurt them so bad with candy.
Yeah, sure.
And we don't.
I don't even have to be that
Jamie
close.
would
Sorry.
still miss it.
Literally right between the eyes.
Three different kids.
I want to apologize to all those kids that I pelted with Skittles. But I think honestly, we need to give a big thank you to all of our staff that came and gave up their week.
14 years. This has been the most amazing staff we've ever had. Like, I really can't think of any department that dropped the ball.
No.
Every one of them. Like, usually we have maybe one department that shies. The rest are just like, oh, my Lord, help us. This year was like all of them. Like, we could have, I feel like we could have disappeared and they would have been fine.
Yeah. Like we were talking out back, like I feel like we expect people to do the bare minimum of their job. And like everyone went above and beyond. Every department.
Every department. Amazing.
Yeah.
So,
that's
so
the thing
grateful.
is like everybody
Listen,
kept on
Paul's
saying
right here. Please, all of you, come back.
Yeah.
Please come back.
Like everyone kept on coming up to us and saying thank you, and we're like, no, thank you. Because like they say, like we couldn't do that, but we really couldn't do. Like we can't run.
We can't do all that.
We can't counselors. We can't be security guards. We can't be like we have to have all those people to do
surround
this.
ourselves with God's people.
God gave us a good bunch this year.
Wonderful.
One thing I will say that I noticed is I'm going to say at least 2 or 3 kids every day was like, you're the guy from the podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're the guy from the podcast. And like, I was thinking like, but when we look at the stats, it shows only 4 people who watched. You know,
you should have heard them when they watched your video in the escape room. Yeah. That's the guy from the prayer station. So we got to get you a big name tag so that they know you have a name.
Yeah.
He's not just the guy from
But just to like hear that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I kind of expected it after the escape room. You know what I mean? But this was like Monday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, you're the guy from the podcast. Or I saw you on the podcast. And I'm thinking like, so why aren't you know what I mean? Like you watch the podcast, you know what I mean? Not I never said that, of course, but just to know that there are more out there watching us.
Well, and I think that's a great point to bring up. So the same reasons we do the NYC is the same reason we do what we do here. And that's the reason 100%. Actually it came out of 2020 where we weren't able to have camp that the NYC GODcast was birthed. And so out of that desire to just continually stay connected, continually challenge spiritually, to pour into lives, that's why we do this every week. And so it gets a little goofy and quirky very quickly.
Anytime anyone brought it up, I was like, I am so sorry.
So sorry. We should title, instead of Wacky Word of Wisdom, it should be Quirky Quickly. That's what we are at the NYC GODcast.
None of us can say that besides you. Quirky, quickly,
Quirky quickly. But that's why we do what we do here, is because we love God's word, we love God's people, and we just want to see God's kingdom be built here. We want to see people pressed into Jesus. And so any means that we can do, we're happy to. And so...
Yep.
All right. Well, any last thoughts before we tune out? So next week we'll be back with a brand new series, which we will not announce right now because we actually don't know what that is yet. We plan our fiscal years June to June, so we actually don't know what comes July. Yeah. So we will find out and let you know next week, and we'll be just as surprised as you are. So make sure to tune in for that. It will be wonderful and swell and quirky quickly, no doubt.
Yes. I think that's a good description of what happened.
Olay. All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We love you all. Can't wait to see you a year from now. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you.
Bye, guys.